Welcome back to Cape Rugby TV here on Cape Town TV. Nice to have you along. It's Wednesday. It's a little bit warmer. In actual fact, it was a little bit warmer early on. Now it's rather chilly, but nice to have you along anyway, and I hope you're staying warm out there. We'll, of course, take a look at all the results, the logs, the fixtures, and see what's happening in the world of rugby in Cape Town, the world's most biggest sporting organisation, and certainly the world's most passionate rugby supporters right here in Cape Town. Well, tonight the protocol changes a little bit. I am going to have to welcome somebody different this time in terms of as protocol demands. The acting president of Western Province Rugby Football Union, Thurlow Wakefield, has joined us. Hello, Thurlow.
Good evening to you, JP, and thank you for having me. Well,
it's nice to have you here. We've been trying to get you on the show for quite a while now.
Oh, thanks for looking.
And, of course, the ever-popular Herman Abrams. Hello, Mr. H.
Good evening, JP.
I'm beginning to see that they even now starting to, the names on the birth certificates are now starting to move from Sonny Bill Jacobs to more Hermans. Or in actual fact, now you even see on the birth certificate, Mr. H. And Deegan Seconds, how are you, my man?
I'm very well, Jeff. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. You have a nice rugby weekend?
Awesome, actually.
Yeah.
He scored 2 tries.
He scored 2 tries?
It's in the news.
It's in the news, You just can't stay out of the news.
You know, Hamiltons are doing well at the moment, so it's a team effort.
Yeah, well, luckily we don't have you here representing Hamiltons. You're
that's
representing
right,
Cape Rugby TV. Yeah? We've got to make sure that we keep it clean. Yeah, absolutely. But let's move straight along. Let's start off with some of the results then. Let's take a look at what did happen over the weekend. We'll start off with Super League A. Belhar, 41-53 over Marties, or at least going down to Marties. And Hamilton's beating Helderberg 35-12. Egan, let's start with you. 53-41, Marties, Belhar.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, those numbers are too high. There's, again, it's showing me weak defence.
It does. And you know, the funny thing is Belhar was actually leading at halftime. And they couldn't hold on. I mean, it's the opportunity that they have. I mean, they're doing all the right things and then they let it slip at the end. And it's been, most of their games has been like that.
But why are they letting it slip? I mean, how can you get up? Apparently they were in the lead at one stage, Belhar.
Yes.
And then you let it slip. But this is a lack of composure, lack of experience. What is it?
No, definitely. A team like Marties, you can't give them a sniff, especially leading at halftime. And they're professional enough that, you know, they'll take advantage of any opportunity that you give them. And Belhar gave them one too many. And as soon as they get back into the game, they'll slaughter you.
And so how do you fix it? Is it just a question of more experience in the right leagues?
Yeah, and of course it comes down to depth. I mean, a lot of those players come through right through the season. You know, they're struggling to keep up with the pace. And like we spoke before, a lot of times it takes a lot of money investment to get more players there. And feeding from the second and third teams to come up to the first team and do the same kind of job. And those teams are struggling with that at the moment.
Yeah, and of course the other result there that we had a look at in Super League A was Hamilton's 35-12 over Helderberg.
Yeah.
Did Helderberg, honestly, at any stage, did they think that they were going to pull it off?
I think about 20-30 minutes into the game, I think they did.
Really?
You know, it was a Friday night game. It was under lights, so it wasn't what Hamilton's wanted.
Yeah.
They struggled to get into the game and only came good right at the end to get the 5 points off Helderberg. But they were always there and thereabouts.
Mr. H, how much of a difference does it make playing on a Friday night? It's a night game.
You know, Hamilton's after coming back from the club championship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They played their first game against Fallsbury under lights and they lost that game. You know.
Hamilton's?
Yeah, so probably there's something in the air at night.
On a Friday night?
On a Friday night.
Yeah, I'm sure there's probably a few more things than a little something in there on a Friday night. Tell julle speel rugby op 'n Vrydag as miskien as die WP ouens op 'n Saterdag speel, né?
Ek dink so, ek is nie so diep betrokke by die klub meer nie. Maar ek gaan kyk net my klub nie, ek gaan kyk na ander klubs.
En as praat van jou klub, dan praat ons natuurlik van Kuilsrivier.
Ja, ek weet laaste keer het ek nog gecheck of my ledegeld betaal is so.
Maar jy hoef mos nie meer ledegeld betaal nie. Jy's mos lifetime honorary president of whatever.
Ja, ons policy is ons moet betaal. Elke sent is broodnodig, jy weet.
Ja. Dat is natuurlijk belangrijk dat allemaal die game spelen en goed spelen om vorentoe te gaan.
Ja, absoluut. Ek dink ons Kuilsrivier het die seisoen afgeskop nie so goed nie. En toe kry hulle so 'n bietjie van 'n sterkwind en toe hy wind opgeraak en Nou hoop ons maar weer, daar kom weer 'n sterkpunt sodat hulle 'n bietjie push kan kry om die seisoen klaar te maak. Ek sê lyk hulle moet bly in SLB, maar dis in die spelers se hande.
Ja. Ons sal net maar weer by Kuilsrivier uitkom. Ek dink dit sal nogal interessant wees om te sien waar die manne op die log sit en hoe die logs op hierdie tyd natuurlik staan. Of course, we'd like to wish our Muslim viewers a blessed Ramadan. If you're out there, we're thinking of you. And yeah, have a peaceful month. And we'll be missing you, of course, in the rugby circles, but of course hoping that you will stay along with us here at Cape Rugby TV and making sure that we keep bringing you all the rugby right to your home, I'll call it your armchair sofa. For this time, you will be an armchair participant for a little bit, but a blessed month of Ramadan to you. Let's move then to the other result in the Super League A, SK Warmers against UCT. There's another interesting result, 23-29. I suppose SK Warmers were thinking for a while there that they were going to take UCT, Mr. H?
Yeah, and UCT coming back after a long layoff and expected SK Warmers to pull it off. But, you know, with students, you can never say. That's why we're going to watch them on Saturday when they play Marties.
Yes, we're going to watch, of course, Marties playing UCT at UCT.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully they've cleared that helicopter. From what I understand, there was a little bit of an accident there this morning anyway, all over the Cape Town News. But a nice fan pic that came in there from Bertram Malgas. Bertram sent us a great picture there of the match between SK and UCT. And please keep sending those pictures in to us. We really are getting some amazing pictures from the fans. Let's look at Super League B then. It's Collegians against Belleville. That was close. 1 point in it. And NNK beating Primrose 16 points to 9. Mr. H Collegians, a 1 point win over Belleville. We went to watch Belleville just a week before. Not a bad side. Collegians must have played their guts out to pull it off.
As Clive Allen would say, jy het in die gat kom speel.
Yeah.
This is where it happens.
Yeah,
and it's a great result for Collegians.
Yeah,
they suddenly find themselves high up in the log position where they were struggling a while ago, and they're now off for 4 weeks, 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, they've done well.
No, well, that's congratulations then to Collegians, who, of course, have playing some good rugby during the course of the season. And NNK, 16 points to 9 over Primrose. Not a big gap there. It was obviously a very tight game, but a good result for NNK, which I think is what Francois Bontes was looking for.
Yeah, and I think Primrose played above themselves.
Yeah.
They were really out there to surprise everybody.
Yeah.
In the end, they couldn't do it, but yeah, well done to NNK.
All right, let's take a look at our fan pick of the week there that came in from in the Premier League A region, coming in from Rashid Isaacs. Rashid was field side with me at the match between Rangers and Goodwood. It was a tight match, I must say. Goodwood there beating Rangers 29 points to 25. Rashid, of course, taking community newspaper pictures. Nice to get that picture in there from Rashid, and thanks again, Rashid, uploading it to my Facebook page, getting some quality pics in. So we went out to the field side to go check out the game between Goodwood and Rangers, and the fans were there in their droves, and certainly there was a lot of exciting rugby being played there. And I happened to leave my jacket behind because it was pretty cold. Check it out. fine. Well, that was a pretty tough match there, 29-25. Goodwood coming away with a nice win there. And the guys having travelled out there, but I must say it was bitterly cold, and the conditions yet again awkward. And I must just say a big thanks to Gert Rademan, the coach of Goodwood, for coming to say hello there. And it just goes to show there's some interesting things happening in Western Province Rugby. When I come to this in a second or so. Mr. H, I think Rangers were looking for a better result.
Yeah, but you must also understand Goodwood is the lock leaders, and they are desperately trying to stay up front, so they're doing a good job. And Rangers didn't do too badly, 4 points difference, could have gone anyway.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And it's the first time that they play on that field, both teams, that's not normally a rugby field.
Well, that's right, they're playing at Vegieskraal at the moment. Because
that's not their home ground.
There's repairs happening on their field?
On their field, yes.
So it's difficult for them, difficult to play away from home. I mean, there weren't a lot of fans at the game, actually, to be honest with you. I did expect more people there, but the fact is it wasn't a home ground. And Thela, let me ask you, do you think that from a club point of view, if the club is not winning, the fans don't come to watch?
Yeah, it is so. I've noticed that at various fields, once you start losing, you have less people watching the game on a Saturday. Like I said, it happened at Kailsriver. But as soon as you start winning, the fans sort of pick up again.
Are they really that sensitive to it? I mean...
I think they are. And then, of course, we have the old saying of fire the coach.
Yeah, and that, of course, doesn't help, eh?
Yeah, that doesn't help at all.
Unless it's a really bad coach.
Exactly.
In which case, you must fire the coach.
Yeah,
well, in which case, you probably shouldn't have hired him in the first place.
Yeah, I remember years ago at Kailsriver, we got a guy from, let me not mention the area.
No, let's not mention names.
And
keep our day
he
jobs.
promised us that he would take us right through to Super League A. Well, we ended up in the zones. So, coaches think a hell of a lot of themselves, and they back themselves all the way.
Well, that does seem to be the case. I mean, in Western Province, of course, I mean, you've got 90-odd clubs in the Western Province. That means you've got 90 coaches who think they're better than the next coach, who think that their player is better than the next player. So, I mean, Mr. H, are the club players coming through the ranks? Because there's been some articles in the newspaper lately. I mean, let's not hide away from this.
There's a lot of debate about that. And there's a lot of people that are, saying all kinds of funny things.
Yeah.
I think they must just concentrate on looking after their players, making sure that the players do the right thing and develop the players, and the players will get there.
So, but let me ask you then, I mean, we've dealt with this now on a number of occasions, actually, and it's funny that we have to keep repeating this story. And folks, by the way, if you see me dabbling on my laptop here, it is because we're live streaming, and there are folks all around the world who are busy tuning into our live stream and are waiting for us to broadcast and chat with them. So this is new technology broadcasting. Eh? We've taken broadcasting and television to the new level. We don't do it the way that some of the other channels are doing it. We're actually doing it the new way. It's the new fandangled way. It's much more impressive. It's much easier. All right, but let's get back to the story here before I get carried away on talking about social media. Talking about social media, I just got to quickly tell her it's your daughter's birthday tonight. I must congratulate your daughter Megan on her birthday.
Yeah, it is, and I can assure you I'm in trouble. I'm not at home.
Yes.
I left home very early this morning. Just got back at 6:30 and had to rush off to be here. So I suppose the midnight party will start later on.
Oh, ja, nee. Hoe het jy Saterdag gesê, daar so by St. George's en ons hang hom op vanaand.
Absolute.
In actual fact, that was Ruben Riffel who said that at the dinner. But let's get back to this story. I mean, it was in the newspapers over the week. Some of the clubs are complaining that their players are not getting into the Western Province side. But we've discussed this, and we've discussed it a number of times. I'm not quite understanding why it had to be repeated again now. But it still seems to me that, obviously when your child doesn't make the team, you get upset that my child is not in the team. Your baby is always prettier than except in Egan's case, of course. But we all think our baby is prettier than the other child's baby, the other family's baby. Explain to me again the process from being a club player. Are there trials, the scouting procedure? When do you have an opportunity, if you're a club player, have you got the opportunity to come through the ranks?
There's lots of opportunities. club players in the lower leagues are identified by selectors. There are 5 selectors. They are also, the coaches can nominate players to come to the trials. They just completed 5 weeks of trials for the Dizer team. The amateur team, who selected mostly out of Super League A and B, but if there are players lower down that's good enough, they will also be included. They got a training squad of about 45, and out of that group they will have, and from there you go to the Vodacom team, and from the Vodacom team you will go to
the Curricum.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
if you're good enough.
Yeah, and if your club don't send you, or your club hides you, or your club don't send the players to be tested, like we did at the beginning of the year.
You did some testing with the Sports Science Institute?
We tested 30 clubs.
30 clubs.
30 players of each club. So that means 900 players could have been tested.
Yes.
But some of the people making a noise now, they weren't even there. They didn't bother.
Are you telling me that you've given the club, because this is something that I think is something that's very important, is that if you get given the opportunity, you must take the opportunity.
Of course you must take the opportunity. And I blame the officials, because the officials would tell players, you can't go to the Vodacom because we have a contract with you, so you can't play for Western Province.
But this is a little bit like, Thulos, would you agree with me? It's a little bit like giving, saying that your child gets an opportunity for a bursary at a university in, say, Durban. And now you don't tell him about the bursary because it's too far away, so you're being selfish. And at the end of the day, your child then doesn't get to go. I'm using a silly example here, but the coaches are then denying the player the opportunity to develop. Would you agree with me on that, Thelo?
I agree with you. I think players would like to play for Western Province.
Yeah.
It's so nice to see a youngster walking around with a Dizer. And I think we need to afford them the opportunity and not be selfish. Let them come through the ranks and let them play.
But that means that the administrators, must feed the information to the coaches, and the coaches must talk to their players.
Obviously.
And this is the old story of not the communication breaking down.
Exactly.
Okay, well, hopefully those kind of things will improve. We did have a chat with the coach and captain of Goodwood and Rangers, and it was nice to catch up with them. Let's get back to the field side. That's where it's so much more fun. See what they had to say.
Yeah, very tight game. Well, unfortunately, it was a bit, not one-sided. I felt that the ref was a bit rough on us today. But, well, it worked out fine in the end, we're a bit sweating. We knew from the start that it's going to be a very tough game. Guys were a bit scared to come and play, because there's one of those teams in the case that could have shocked us, and everybody was quite scared about this. We're not very comfortable with a field, obviously different environment, but well, we pulled it off eventually. But so far, we haven't lost the game yet, and the stuff staying up there, everybody wants to hit.
Baie dankie. Nee, ons op die einde bietjie gesukkel. Die manne van Rangers het gekom met alles. En gelukkig my boys gestak by hulle guns en ons het die game deurgetrek. Ja, ons het 'n paar manne gehad wat nie die stadion gekry het nie, so dis nie een van daai dinge. Maar die manne wat in hulle plekke ingestaan het, baie goed gedoen, wel dan.
Dissipline belangrik by julle klub?
Baie belangrik, want dit kan 'n morsige storie raak. Ek kan vinnig vuishou, swaai en dinge wat 'n mens nie soekie. So goeie dissipline. Ons groot motto is net basics. Ons doen jou vaste skramwerk, jou lynstaande, jou tackles, jou handling, en dis waarop ons fokus. Dis al wat ons deurtrek sover.
Disappointing. We worked hard this week, but unfortunately too many mistakes, maybe too many missed tackles, and they capitalized on our mistakes. At the end of the day, we worked hard, we played hard, the game was physical. Unfortunately, it just didn't go our way today. Definitely our set phase at the lineouts, and then again the missed tackles, like I said. Just too many missed tackles and too many mistakes.
I understand your coach had an unfortunate incident, and you've obviously been a bit unstable this week.
Yeah, unfortunately his son passed away in a car accident last week Sunday morning, and our condolences and sympathy to him. Fortunately he couldn't be here. I know his heart is at the Rangers, but he's got his family to attend to. It's Ramadan now, next week, starting Monday. It's going to be a holy month of Ramadan for 30 days, so we're going to be off the rugby. Don't know how we're going to get fit for the rest of the season. But hopefully if our souls, if we nourish our souls, our bodies will follow.
We threw a few chances away, and that wasn't our plan, obviously, but it's easy for us to say on the sideline, but the guys that's playing there, they put in a lot of hard work in the week. The training quality was good, so I actually expected us to win, to be quite honest with you. That's purely based on what we put in during the week, and we only have ourselves to blame.
Nice to chat there with the player, at least the captain and coach of Goodwood and of Rangers. The guys, of course, from Rangers a little bit disappointed about the result and didn't quite go their way, but congratulations to the boys from Goodwood who managed to pull it off. And just incidentally then, bumped into the coach of Goodwood there, which I didn't know, so it just goes to show how many amazing things are actually happening in the world of rugby. And I found out that we've got a local coach who's written a book on rugby. His name's Gerard Rademan, he coaches at Goodwood, wrote a book called Rugby Skills, and I haven't had a chance to look through it yet, but it looks to me like quite an interesting little booklet that you should look out for and help you with some of your skills. Mr. H, talking about skills, are we doing enough to pass on skills down to the coaches? Because it seems to me that if those players are not able to make it through the ranks, and you tested these players at the sports science, and some of them didn't come up, they didn't make the grade. Are we doing enough to teach the coaches? Are there coaches' courses and so on?
There are regular coaching courses, level 1, level 2, level 3.
Yeah.
And Jerome Pawater regularly takes coaches to talk to them about new techniques and things like that. So, yeah, those are all in place.
All right, let's take a look at the results in Premier League B. UWC, a massive result for them over Franschhoek, 42 points to 5. We nearly went out there over the weekend. Well, I suppose it wasn't really needed. 42 points to 5. And Macassar beating Strand United, 18-5. Let's take a look there. A nice picture coming in also from Lagunya's result, going down to Silvertree, 25-12. Mariam MJ Jakut, of course, Mariam, one of our regular contributors there. Nice team pick of the boys from Silvertree. Thanks for sending that in, Mariam. And result there in Premier League B. In Division 1, Kylemore 12, Hamadayas 22. Esther 30 points to 8 over Young Stars, and Strand Pioneers losing to Temperance, 35 points to 27. In Division 2, and it's a nice picture from Jonas Jones-Maxon in the match between Manenberg Rangers and Watsonia. And I suppose this is the result that the Manenberg Rangers has been promising Watsonia for so long now. Hier is die pak slaaf wat hulle gebeloof het vir 'n lang tyd. Manenberg Rangers beating Watsonia there, 16 points to 11. And Division 3, we'll take a look at the result there. Gardens Tech beating Retreat, 29 points to 12. Caledonian Roses going down to Perseverance, 12-10. And a nice pick in there from Naima Ajam. Violets beating Cloutiesville, 68 points to 3. Again, Egan, what's going on here? Is it I ask you this question all the time. Is it a defensive thing again?
I have to say, a lot of times with those clubs that struggle down there, on Saturday mornings, they have to go look for players. And sometimes they come knock on anybody's door just to fill up the team.
But you mentioned go look for players.
Yeah.
When I got to the field at Vygieskraal on Saturday, Gert Rademan suspended one of his players because he arrived late.
Yeah.
He didn't take any nonsense from the fact that one of the players he dropped a player.
Yeah.
So some teams you're saying are looking for players.
Yes.
But here's a coach who says to a player, you didn't rock up on time. I'm not sure if he didn't rock up on time or didn't rock up, but he dropped him, blocked him, and then brought the second team player into the mix.
And it's good to see that because, he's preventing another guy who might be punctual and is looking for the opportunity to play in the first team. So if a guy is not being serious about playing in the first team, it's the right thing to drop him.
But is that a coach being serious about coaching?
I know Gert personally also. I've played under his coaching for a little bit. And he's staunch on that. And a lot of times coaches need to have that kind of authority. You can't always be chommy like they say with your coach. If there's rules in place, it applies to everybody. No one gets excluded from it. And if he made that rule in the beginning of the season, everybody's got to abide to it.
You're the acting president of Western Province Rugby, but you also know almost everybody in Western Province Rugby. And you've come through the ranks. You've done everything. You've been at Kelsrivier. You've from inception. You've been the manager, the Curry Cup, and the Stormers. I'm sure Egan over here will tell me a couple of funny stories about.
I forgot to bring him a snack. He used to have a snack on the bench there.
But how difficult it is, we had Chippy Solomon on the show, how difficult is it to to keep the relationship balanced between the people you know, and at the same time you're the acting president of the union, where you have to still enforce that sort of process?
Well, let me first of all tell you about my days as manager of the provincial team. I used up all my leave, and later I applied for a Cushman leave.
Cushman leave?
Yes, a Cushman leave. Bevallingsverlof in Afrikaans, but you can't kry.
Oh,
and I had to make some sort of plan because we were on our way to Australia and I had no leave left, you know, and the chief director HR approved my leave form, and as soon as I left his office, I tore up the form, and that is how I built up my leave over the years, you know. But yeah, balancing it's very difficult, sort of, you know, to live a balanced life between your full-time work and the work at the union. I have now realized that the role of the president is actually a full-time role. There is no way that one could remote control them because you need to be there, and you need to be there when they look for advice, especially for decision making and things like that. And that's the way we get things going, because I don't believe in things must stand over. I hate that. I like to get things done. That's unfortunately my nature.
Are there sometimes it comes perhaps where you have to step on the toes of people that you've been friends with for a long time?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not scared to do that.
I see Mr. H has got big flat feet now.
Yeah, but he's a sickly guy, so I won't do that. Yeah, I'm known for that. I can't take sloppy work. I hate things, like I said, to stand over. We need to take decisions and get on with the job. I'm known like that at work as well. So yes, to me, I just want to get the ball rolling and get things done. That's how I am. Unfortunately, it's my nature. It's
thankless job, though, eh?
Yeah, it is.
Sometimes.
I would say most of the time, especially when I read the comment about me on News 24. I thought people didn't notice that I was so fat, but anyway.
Well, the TV does add a few pounds. They say the TV always, you know.
I must tell you, I'm worried about this chair I'm sitting
on.
Yeah,
I know. I'm also worried about it. I have to probably pay for it. All right, let's look at the results then in the Paarl region, folks. In the Paarl region, then Violets, a nice result for them. 76-3 over Parel United. More than a nice result, an enormous result actually. Vineyards beating Simondium 31 points to 19. Young Standards 43-39 over Yellow River Stones. Lower Paarl. Good result for them over Vintmill United, and Young Gardens will be very disappointed with the fact that they lost to Albions over the weekend, losing their 18 points to 10. And it's time for us to give one of our sponsors a look in. Of course, it is the official sports nutrition supplier time. And tonight you'll see I'm wearing a shirt of a slightly different nature. Evox on the one side and official supplier to the Stormers on the other side. And you can win for yourself, as you can see here, a bucket of Mega Grow. And you can see this 5-kilogram bucket. All you need to do to win yourself this prize is SMS the name, as you can see behind me here. SMS the name of the official sponsor to Western Province Rugby to 32010. It's a 4-letter word, but it's a good word. This is the kind of stuff that you need to get yourself through the season. And in fact, many people use this during the month of Ramadan to maintain weight. All right, many players have come to me in the past and spoken about this, and that's of course very important that you try and retain your weight during the course of the season. And incidentally, in case you're concerned about these things, there's very little difference between the kind of baby formula you used to give your child when they were growing up, being protein meal based, or for people who are slightly older or in hospital having a meal replacement. All it is a meal replacement. And heavens above knows that nowadays, with the cost of food on the shelves, this is the kind of thing that you want to do to replace that food. So once again, 32010, just tell us who is the official sports nutrition supplier to Western Province Rugby. All right, then it's time for us to take a little bit of an ad break, and we'll be back with you any mo now. Welcome back to Cape Rugby TV, folks, and of course, nice to have you along. Mr. H, how's women's rugby doing in Cape Town?
We're doing quite well. Our women's team beat Border over the weekend.
Yeah.
and I think they're on their way now to semi-finals or playoffs. And on Friday we had a under 16 sevens tournament, and about 10 schools took part. On the 9th of August we'll have a big Women's Day tournament at Florida Park with under 13, under 16, under 18.
Why do you play matches at Florida Park?
Because it's central for those people, and we need 3 fields.
You need 3 fields.
We need 3 fields.
Are there not a lot of fields out there that have got so many fields, clubs?
No, unfortunately
Right,
not.
and
There are very few.
Yeah.
And then of course, you know, you need the facilities, the change rooms and all that for the women, you know.
I suppose there's lots of people who ask that you come and play some games at their fields.
Yeah, no, we get that regularly, and we would love to, but you know, you also need to have some kind of standard that you adhere
Florida
to.
Park seems to have worked pretty well over the years.
Yeah.
Like you say, it is quite central. It's good for the community as well.
Absolutely.
But anyway, as we keep building the process and the more media we get focusing on rugby, the more of these derby games we are going to have. We're still trying to somehow squeeze in during the course of the season, trying to squeeze in a live game. As soon as we can find a sponsor, we'll be bringing live rugby to you on a Saturday. Looking forward to that. That's going to be really exciting. Unfortunately, we have to still do the door knocking, and we've got to go out there and find the sponsors. And of course, if you're looking for sponsorship, make sure you get involved here with Cape Town TV. As a non-profit organization, we look after the communities. We build the processes, and we give you the opportunity to give your club exposure, all right? So go to the union and find out what your benefits are. The Western Province Rugby Union is a member of the Western Province Sports Federation, and the Western Province Sports Federation is a member of Cape Town TV. All right, that's how it works. And so it all filters down from us to the federations, down to the community. And many federations out there actually don't know that as a member of Cape Town TV, you get a certain amount of airtime that you can use to promote your event. So why not do it? Join from a non-profit organization point of view. Make sure that you're benefiting through your federation and making sure that you've got that media exposure for your event at Cape Town TV. It's time for us to of course, look after one of our other sponsors, being the Leisure Hotels, who from the beginning has been looking after us. I must say the guys from Leisure Hotels have been absolutely fantastic, and they also have extended their services even beyond our show and beyond Cape Town TV. For the folks that want to travel down to Cape Town, they can get in touch with the guys at Leisure Hotels. As you know, once a week we draw a winner. All you need to do is SMS the word leisure to 32010. This week's winner is Sandra Marais. Congratulations, Sandra. You win for yourself a bed and breakfast at the Fountain Hotel. Yep, that's all you need to do. Send the word leisure to 32010, and you can put yourself in the mix for it. Of course, folks, you can be following us on Facebook at the moment, www.facebook.com/Cape Rugby TV. I want you on there now. All right, I want a whole bunch of you to jump on and say hello to us on Facebook. And we've got some questions that did come in from Facebook as well. Of course, question here is, hey, JP, where will your crew be heading this weekend? And this question comes in from Quinton Miles Glover. Mr. H, where are we going this weekend?
UCT and Marty's.
UCT and Marty's. All right, so finally we're going to a match in the Super League A.
Yep.
All right, you know, because that was the first thing people moaned about was, oh, you're always going to look after Super League A.
Yeah, we haven't been to a Super League match for a long time.
Yeah, no, we haven't really been to Super League A. Yeah. Nice to look after the rest of the clubs, still, eh?
Absolutely. I think all of them should get exposure. And I'm glad that watching your show over the weeks that you've given exposure to all the clubs, all the divisions, all the leagues and so on.
Yeah.
And it's nice for them and they enjoy it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's been fantastic. I must just say the message that came in there from Quinton was not where will you be heading, it will be where will you be heading. Verstaan ze? Okay. Where will you be heading this weekend? Okay. All right. Okay. So Quentin will be heading, not like literally be heading, but we will be heading. Okay. Ons gaan so intoe gaan. Ons gaan UCT Stellenbosch. Nee, daai ander beheading nie. Okay, right folks, of course, lots of questions coming in on Facebook, and it's nice to have you along. And don't forget, we're on Twitter as well, at Cape Rugby TV. Just follow us there. Questions coming in on the chat zone, and there's a question here from Chuck, and Chuck asks the question. The topic there is the derby match between Goodwood and Kraaifontein. Gaan Goodwood, of kan Goodwood, een einde maak aan 'n sekere Kraaifontein speler se trotse rekord dat hy nog nooit teen enige Goodwood span al sy jare van club rugby verloor het nie. Egan, Mr. H, have you guys tell her?
I think Goodwood.
Yeah, but who's the player?
I don't know who's the player, but I know.
You know?
He's putting himself under a lot of pressure now. Eh?
Yeah?
That's I can tell you. Those records are usually boast about after you've kept them, not before. Not before.
It could be that he bragged in the bar and some people believed him.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Nowadays these rumors, they spread so quick. But you never brag about the fact that you're Western Province's highest try scorer.
No. I had you to do that, and Mr. H.
And I did it afterwards. I didn't do it before.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it was I enjoyed what I did.
Yeah.
And I loved every moment of it. I never kept track of anything, any tries being scored. I just wanted to make sure my team was winning, and if I was scoring all the tries, then so be it.
Yeah, nice to have a finisher in a team, eh?
Yeah, I was lucky like that.
Yeah.
Did he come through the club structure?
Did you come through the club structure, Egan?
Funny enough, I was playing football at the time, and then I started playing rugby again after matric, and I started at Gardenstek.
Yes.
And yes, I started up there in Oranjezicht and with Campbell McGraw up there, and I got invited. I just, like I said...
Tell him wat lag jy so, ken jy al die mense?
Nee, ek dink net aan die daad toe ek manager was van die span, was sy bynaam, ek het hom altyd genoem Stiefsie, en ek was baie lief vir hom. And but then die extra overstepped his mark. At 2 o'clock in the morning he comes and he looks for snacks and hot chocolate, you know. And then I've got to look after him, but he was a very nice guy. Must have.
You're telling my stories now, and if anybody sees me telling
This
stories...
is what they say is what goes on tour stays on tour.
Stays on tour.
That's a local story.
See, this is the problem when I put two guys like you that have traveled together on the show, because you'll start swapping stories.
That's
and then
the
you
thing,
drag us in a whole different...
It's dangerous, I'd rather stop.
And it is a family show, absolutely, yeah, I know. So a nice pick coming in there from Rashida, the match, of course, we played this weekend, Rangers against Goodwood. Rika Swanepoel, James Mundy, and Brandon Nell, or Brant Nell, for Goodwood coming in there, of course, just staying in touch then with that, the fact that there was that the biggie braggery van wie wat se match gaan wen tussen Kraaifontein and Goodwood. Is it no hierdie naweek? Was that? That's okay. It's going to be a pretty tough match then. But yes, Chuck, so not sure which player it is, wie se trotse rekord gaan gesmash word, maar ons sal laat ons weet asseblief, sodat ons kan vir mense terugvoering kan gee of daai speler nog so groot bek is na die game. Maar mooi prentjie wat daar so ingekom het. Nog 'n lekker prentjie daarso van Macasso teen Strand United. Enver Eyman, Charles Well, Gladwin Liebenberg, Andrew Smith, Wade Algernon, Andries, Mario Jerome, Gwaine Johannes, Reino Weer, Neville Benjamin, de twee, allemaal in die span daarso, Strand United, so tweede span, wat daarso in die fan pictures is. Voordat ons na die volgende strand, na die prentjie gaan, kom net gou hierso terug na my toe, en ons praat nou van tweede spanne. Thelo, daar was 'n storie op die web, en mense het gepraat, dat die ouens, wat my bietjie ontstel, en ek hoop daai jersey hang nou nie eintlik hier agter vandag nie, maar die tweede span, het blykbaar, ons het nie feite nie, die tweede span by Primrose het bietjie moeilikheid gemaak in 'n kleedkamer by een van die ander spanne. Nou, kom ons fokus nou nie op daai span nie, maar hoe belangrik is dit dat clubs, spelers en coaches vandag vir hulle self goed vertoon? Is dit belangrik in terme van, gaan jy 'n borgskap kry, gaan die borge vir jou drop?
JP, ek dink niet in termen van borgskappen nie, maar die heel eerste ding wie jy verteenwoordig is jou klub. En jy is 'n ambassadeur vir jou klub en jy moet sorg dat jou gedrag op die veld by jou gasheer bo verdenking is.
Ja.
En ek wil glad nie verwys na die geval wat nou plaasgevind het, want ek het nie die feite nie.
Ja.
Ek glo dat hulle onskuldig bevind is tot hulle skuldig bevind word. Maar die belangrike ding wat jy noem is dat borge se name wil nie gekoppel word aan enige eenheid, enige klub wat moeilikheid maak nie. Ek dink ek kan dit noem. Ek het 'n baie goeie borgskap geonderhandel met Mr. Price, met die destyds by Kuilsrivier. En toe het daar 'n baie onsmaaklike voorval plaasgevind. En die borgskap was onmiddellik opgehef.
So dit is belangrik dat jy aanhoudend na jou borge kyk en dat jy vir jouself goed gedra of jy kan die borge verloor.
Absoluut.
Ja.
As jy kyk na die massiewe borgskap wat die WP het met DHL, dan is dit belangrik dat ons daai borg gelukkig hou. Gelukkig hou ten opsigte van hoe ons vertoon in die publiek op die veld sowel as van die veld.
Ja.
En ook dat jou borg wil sien dat jy wen. Geen borg wil gekoppel wees aan 'n verloorspan nie, want dan verloor die produk ook.
Yes, of course, ja.
Geen borg wil gekoppel wees aan 'n ongedissiplineerde eenheid nie. Want dan is die produk ook so te sê ongedissiplineerd.
Ja.
En daarom is dit belangrik dat ons altyd onthou, as ons uitdraf en ons het die wapen van die borg op ons bors of op jou broek, dan moet jy weet dat jy as speler is onder verpligting om absoluut gedissiplineerd te wees. Om jou klub te verteenwoordig, om as ambassadeur op te tree en om jou borg gelukkig te hou.
I'll take that a step further. Folks, if I go back to, I go into my Nigel Pearce mode now, where I give you the lecture. All right, this is where you get the lecture. Not only you're representing your club, but you're representing your family. All right? So please, if you're out there, behave yourself. It doesn't impress anybody. Die gevloekery aan die kant van die veld is nie nodig nie. Dit help niemand nie en dit help definitief nie die kinders nie. Okay, so hou die dinge skoon daarso. Speel lekker running rugby. That's what we want in the Western Cape. So but the interesting thing that I heard was, and I still have to get the full story about whether it was Primrose or, you know, what happened, was the thing damaged. We don't really know the full story yet. But what they did say to me was that if it was the second team, that the first team is going to sort them out. And that I like to see in terms of showing leadership. So hopefully nothing happened there. Let's quickly take a look then at where we went on Friday. On Friday, Mr. H and myself, as you know, Mr. H's great-grandfather started St. George's. That was about a few years back, and we went out to St. George's on Friday night. It was their 70th anniversary. We went to go and meet with Ruben Riffel and the boys and his team there. Why don't you take a look at this? The club's now 70 years old, and with me is the president of St. George's, Ruben Riffel. Hello, Ruben.
Hi, JP. Welcome to our anniversary function.
Jana, thanks for having us. I mean, 70 years, you guys are still ticking along, and things seem to be going pretty well.
Yeah, the club is on a high. We've just started our first under-20 team. Our under-20 team is leading the lock. Our third team is leading the lock. Second team is third, and our first team is second on the lock. So it's a great year for us.
This is the type of thing that the community here wants. To be part of the social activities of the club and not just come and watch the game.
Yeah.
No? Yeah. So this is nice.
They have their roots firmly based in the community. They're not doing well on the field of play, but also doing very good work amongst their community, which is commendable.
Ek moet sê vir 'n span wat van baie verskillende skole afkom, groot skole soos Monroe, Gordon High, Uitset en so, lyk ons nogals baie goed en ons gel nogals lekker.
You've been supporting St. George's for a while now?
It's my 10th year now, and we're busy with the soup kitchen and all the food stuff, entertainment. That's what I'm doing.
What's for dinner tonight?
Roast beef and roast potatoes with roast chicken and veggies. Everything nice.
Is that the kind of food that you have to feed a rugby player to keep them going?
A rugby player to keep them happy, yes.
Yourself, how was the dinner?
Magnificent.
You're a Gastro-Strand supporter?
Well, I'm a St. George's supporter, yes. But I don't live in this. I used to live in the stand. Don't live there now.
No, I am actually going to New Zealand to support our team there, in fact.
And your team is?
South Africa Springboks, yeah.
Okay, we're just making sure. We've got a Springbok supporter in the house.
May you always play with the wind behind you. And may the legacy of St. George's never die. Well done.
Hulle rafel uit.
Ja, ek sien die St. George's man het uitgerafel, Mr. H.
Dat is nog een lekker expression, hulle rafel uit.
Ja, Vrydag aand was.
Still a great occasion, eh?
I think they couldn't wait for us to leave.
It was good. St. George's is very community-based, very involved in community structures. Overall, it's a good club. It's a nice club to belong to be a member of, and I respect them.
It's important to celebrate these anniversaries, eh?
Absolutely. You know, I belonged to a club called Melton's Rugby Football Club, and we celebrated our 70th birthday, and the next day we broke up.
I was about to say Melton's Rugby Club. I didn't see them on the log.
No, you weren't born that time. But yeah, it's important. It's important for a club to celebrate and to celebrate its successes.
Tell me about Melton's Rugby Club.
Well, Melton's Rugby Club was an Elsies River based club.
Mr. H, was this during your time still?
Yeah.
You actually know this club?
They played in the Tygerberg Union.
Oh, in the Tygerberg Union?
Yeah.
Hey, we've got a lot of history books to write about
absolutely.
this.
Meltons, Tigers, Silverleaf. Those clubs were the founders of the old
of the union,
Tygerberg Rugby Football Union.
Oh,
And whenever we played, when we played Tygerberg, that was the only time I had an opportunity to have a go at Pete Jooster.
I was about to ask you, did you play against Peter Jooster?
I played against him.
You played against him?
I played against him.
Who was bigger, you or him?
I don't know. He's shrinking, it seems to me.
Well, I can tell you, I think he's shrinking at the moment with the pressure that he's under with the Springboks.
Let me just tell you that I read on News 24 yesterday, people asked, did Wakefield play rugby?
Yeah.
And sometimes I hear, did Peter Jooster play rugby?
Yeah.
Well, I can assure you that we played rugby.
De twee van julle het koppe gestamp, né?
We played rugby, and that was good rugby. Really.
All right,
So
before
to
we get
those who
into
don't
the old memories that are being dragged out here, folks, we do have a new supplier on the show now that has joined us, and we're absolutely thrilled to say that Colour Tone Paints has joined us. Now, you might be asking me this question, Colour Tone Paints, who's Colour Tone Paints, what do they do? Well, the white lines that you see around the side of the field, those are called white line marks. Now, Colour Tone Paints manufacture white line paint, all right? So, what you need to do if you want to win yourself some white line markers, all you need to do is SMS the word Colour Tone to 32010. This is our white line fever competition. Send the word Colour Tone to 32010 and you could win yourself a Colour Tone hamper courtesy of the guys from Colour Tone. So jump in the mix there. Of course, very important, folks, that if you're at a field and you're using markers or the paint around the side of the field, very important that you use stuff that's biodegradable. A lot of people are using lime. Lime damages the grass. There's several other reasons why it is that you want to use a quality white line marker around the field. So all you need to do is SMS, and don't forget to add your club's name, please. You must add your club's name, and you can win for yourself a Colour Tone hamper. All right, now these kind of things is absolutely important for the support of the infrastructure of the club. All right, you can imagine the kind of things that are needed at clubs. Now, of course, you want to get yourself in the mix there and possibly win for yourself that Colour Tone hamper, courtesy of the guys at Colour Tone Paints. And if you want to win to get those paints, you can find them at your nearest hardware store. Absolutely. Let's take a look at the matchups then over the weekend. It's time for us to take a look at some of the matchups. Super League A, this is where we are going this weekend. It's UCT up against Marty's at the UCT A field. Mr. H, what do you think? How's it going to go?
As always, very tight,
very
close. It's like intervarsity, you know, and the Marty's coming this way, they might not have all the support that they would normally have at Stellenbosch.
Yeah.
So Aikies would fancy their chances.
Fancy their chances. Egan, you agree with that?
I would like Ikes to pull this one through.
And why is that?
Just to make it a little bit more interesting on top, you know?
Yeah, the Ike Tigers are going to be Hamiltons.
Yeah.
Make it easy for Hamiltons.
We're not talking about that. I mean, I'm just saying, you just want to make it a little bit more competitive on top.
But these intervarsities can be big, eh? I mean, we've heard of the guys coming through that they'll take up a couple of trains to come through to watch the games.
No, for sure. I mean, it's a grudge match also because of Ikes being the champions of the Varsity Cup and Stellenbosch not doing so well.
Just come back from this varsity break.
Yes, that's right. So
they'll be hungry for
they'll
rugby.
be at each other, yeah. Probably a draw.
Yeah, probably a draw. Let's look at the other fixtures then in Super League A and Super League B, that is. It's Vix up against Hamiltons over the weekend. Villages against Durbell at Brookside. That's going to be a tough one. In Super League B, Belleville against Brackenfell. Hands and Hearts take on Peniel Villages and NNK and Kales River. Stella, so jy sê daar's 'n bietjie van 'n derby match NNK en Kales River.
Nee, ek sal nie so sê nie. Ons derby is gewoonweg teen Belleville.
Well, okay, ja.
En dit is altyd 'n goeie wedstryd.
Ja.
Baie goeie rugby.
Okay.
Dis die enigste tyd wat ons ook baie geld maak in die bal, want ons omtrent seker so 3-4 000 mense.
En dis natuurlik een van die redes hoekom julle nie eintlik by Nieuweland wil kom speel nie.
Ja, ek dink ek dink dit is maar die geval met al die clubs, want jy verloor jou tuisinkomste, veral nou dat clubs nie geld kry van die Unie nie.
Maar die mense wat nie by clubs betrokke is nie, hulle moan altyd, hoekom is daar nie clubspelers wat by Nieuweland is nie? Maar as jy by die club is, dan verstaan jy eintlik die regte storie.
Ja, ek dink ook, jy weet, die spectators wil nie so ver reis toe en jy weet vir watter rede.
Ja, nee, ek weet
van watter rede. As jy maar nie by die lughawe kom, is daar altyd blauwligte en dies meer. So, ons verkies maar om te bly waar ons is, jy weet.
Hoe sê jy, hulle rafel uit?
Hulle rafel uit, ja.
Hulle rafel uit. Ons moet vraggies 'n T-shirt kry wat sê, ons rafel uit. En dan kan jy sommer die ding begin uitrafel. Anyway, let's look at the other fixtures then in Premier League B. It's Elsie's against Langa. The pick of the week there from our chief cook stopper, bottle washer and onion picker, Faisal Felton, who decides what he thinks of the big matches over the weekend. He reckons Goodwood and Kraaifontein is a derby match. And Hamilton taking on Stelkor at Mamre. Goodwood and Kraaifontein, Mr. H? Big one?
Yeah. I mean, they're traditional rivals.
Yeah.
The bragging rights.
Yeah, who owns a voortrekker strip.
That's right.
Yeah. Couple of car dealers down that road, that's for sure. Incidentally, folks, you know what?
The record. Remember that game?
Yes. Chuck, we're still waiting to find out who that is that you're talking about there, right, Chuck? By the way, folks, the guys at Cape Town TV are desperate in need of a vehicle for their news department, or 2 vehicles, all right? They'll give you multi-thousand rands in return if you want to do a trade exchange with the folks from Cape Town TV. Second-hand car, new car, whatever you got. Cape Town TV, they will give you lots of publicity. So if you're out there, why don't you jump on and help us out? In Premier League B, take a look there. Macassar against Franschhoek. It's Milnerton up against UWC. And Solarians take on Laguna at Solaris Pass. In Division 1, it's Paarl Rangers against Northerns. Wraithby take on Kaalmoor, Strand and Boerland. Young Wesley's and Eerste Rivier in Philippi. All Saints and Rocklands, Blue Stars and Whistling Wheels, and hopefully the wheels stay on for Whistling Wheels. In Division 3, it's Richmond Rangers. They take on Retreat. Young Brothers takes on Bishop Levis. Young Ideas take on Gardens Tech. Delft against Cities. Imakawi take on Marcy. That'll be a derby match, in fact. I think that's going to be a big one. Imakawi taking on Marcy there. Marcy 1.
I must just help you with the pronunciation.
Yes, please.
Imikai.
Yeah, Imikawi.
I listened to you last week. You say Imikawi. It's Imikai. Okay. You've got to get used to the clicks.
And the lecture continues. I thought I left school a while back, but thank heavens for that. Give it to me one more time, please.
Imikai.
Imikawi.
Imikai. Ja, dit mense se tong is maar vas, ek verstaan.
Ja, ons sukkel nog. Ek en jy sal gaan praat, maar dit is so ver as wat dit gaan, hè. Ons gooi sommer 3 man op 'n kus. Wat ek oorspronklik gedink het is 3 mense wat by die Weskus opgegaan het om vis te vang. Toe vind ek eers later uit 3 man op 'n kus was 'n ander storie heeltemal. En ek moet sê, daai kom van my Gamta lectures wat ek onder die hoop gekry het by die man op die breakfast show daar by Good Hope vir so lank tyd. En natuurlik die final matchup daarso in die Parel 'n streek. Kom ons kyk gou daarso is Allendale teen Windmill United en die Laer Parel teen Young Standards by Daljosephat. Daai sal 'n groot game wees by Daljosephat en hopelik gaan die Parel se mense uit. Simondium is teen Young Gardens by Simondium en Violets and Parel is teen Albions. Right, so daai's jou fixtures vir die naweek. We're looking forward to getting out to see Stellenbosch take on UCT. At UCT, we'll be out there with Cape Rugby TV. And look out for our new rugger chick, eh? We've got our own rugger girl here, Annie. She'll be field side. Woo, baby! Yeah, we're going to get her to dress up and everything like that. You know, we're going to get it all. She says she's going to wear pink this weekend. So we've got now our very first lady correspondent who's representing Cape Rugby TV, and she's going to be on the microphone for the first time in that match between...
And we'll have the Western Province women's captain here next week.
Fitting in nicely with Women's Week. Mariska Lewitz.
Nice. We are so politically correct.
Yes, I know.
Very good.
I know. Very. I know. I've got the full circle here. I'm covering all the bases. All right. We've even got the quota right.
Yeah.
Okay. Ons het al die quota right. Maar nee, ons kyk uit na om vir Mariska Lewitz te hê. Tholo, thank you very much for joining us this evening. It's we know that you've got a very busy job at Western Province, and we look forward to following things at the Union.
Yeah, thanks very much. And I must thank you for such a great show. It's so informative. And the only thing that I was worried about is this chair I'm sitting on.
Yeah.
But hopefully the show is over. I can now relax.
I was going to tell people, most people don't actually know that you're busy standing at the moment. No, but it's an absolute honor and a privilege to have you on the show. We're thrilled, and of course it is now the biggest rugby show in the Western Cape across all television channels. And folks, incidentally, we are now almost the biggest rugby show in the country. Take that home and brag about it, eh? Almost the biggest rugby show in the country. You know who I'm talking about. They're watching and they want us. And no, we're protecting our space. Hello, baby. Egan Seconds, my man, thank you very much.
Always a pleasure.
You up against who this weekend?
We're up against Victorians in Stellenbosch this weekend.
Yeah.
So another easy 5-pointer, eh?
And not an easy 5-pointer,
No.
eh?
It's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, you know Vix can bring it from time to time.
Yeah, but week in, week out, there's no easy games.
And Mr. H?
Can you remind him that they must come home Saturday, not Monday?
Yes, please. Eh? Moenie rafel uit nie.
Ek sal try, JP.
And of course, Mr. H, that's it for us. We'll be at UCT, and hopefully the guys from UCT and Stellenbosch will recognize the fact that Cape Rugby TV is on the side of the field.
Well, I hope so. If they don't, then they are in trouble.
No, absolutely.
Follow
us on Twitter at Cape Rugby TV. That's the Twitter address. Find us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Cape Rugby TV. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 3, then at 11, and don't forget Saturdays at 8 a.m. Those are the repeats. It's going to be fantastic. Have a great rugby weekend.